Hello everyone, Matt from Model Minutes here, and welcome back to the workbench for another unboxing. Today I'm taking a look at this, the Albatros D.III in 1/72 scale from Revell. So join me as I get inside the box and see what this kit is like. So starting off on the outside, you can see we've got the slightly older style boxing with the bright blue. Over here on the left hand side, it tells us that this has a dimension of 10.1 centimeters in length and 12.5 in width. Or perhaps those are reversed. Those symbols are not particularly clear. Down here on the bottom left, it tells us that this item code is 04062. And then flipping over to the back, we just have a bit of an advert for the different things that are in the range, plus an explanation of the older style skill levels which Revell included in their kits. This incidentally is a skill level 3, but skill levels don't really mean anything. It's just based off of the part count, so it doesn't necessarily indicate how hard or easy the kit might be. On the thin edges, we just have the same information that we've seen on the front of the box, so we'll move on to the long thin edges. Not too much to note, just some multilingual information about the kit, but we do have a copyright date of 2009 down here. Do take that with a pinch of salt, because copyright dates are not always tooling dates. Flipping over to the other side, we have some information about the actual Albatros over here, and then we have a little bit of a breakdown about what's included. Supposedly we have detailed surfaces, a pilot figure, a movable propeller, and decals for a specific version. On the right hand side we do have some suggested paint colours from the Revell range, and with that let's get this box open. So this is a kit that I've had in my stash for quite a while. Probably actually from the first time that I was doing modelling. So this has been with me for a very long time. This is just a generic sort of safety sheet, but inside of there we do have our decals. So the decals here are a small sheet, I presume for just one decal scheme, which we'll look at in a minute. They are printed to a nice quality, and I believe that they're made by Zanchetti because there's a Z at the end of their serial number. Generally these decals apply okay, but they're not quite up to the standards of the cartograph versions you might be able to get in more modern releases, but these look pretty nice, don't they? The registration where everything lines up is quite nice and central, and we have these sort of emblems or reefs, and these are printed quite nicely as well, so I don't think there'll be any problems with them. I think maybe they're just a little bit thicker than the more modern decals from Revell, but actually these look to be absolutely fine, so I'll put them to one side, and then we can look at the instructions, which come all folded up, and as probably could be expected, these are printed in black and white, given sort of the age. I don't really like black and white instructions because it can make things a little bit more difficult to do, especially when you get to the painting instructions, but hopefully it won't be too bad. So these just keep folding out. It's just a long piece of paper. We've got a key to our different symbols, and then we've got our painting color callouts. Revell does that slightly annoying thing where they have a paint color in their range and then they reassign it to a letter. Why not just use the paint color number? I get that they do it because they want to do a mix if they don't have the exact version. So down here, for example, M would be a mix of these two colors. But I don't really like that. I normally go back through the instructions and write in what I need to do. So flipping over to the instruction pages, and you can see straight off we've got a sprue map which tells us where everything is, which is pretty handy. And then we get into the assembly. This printed onto it's like an A5 sheet per page, isn't it? It's very small. I think it's a bit cluttered, but if you're paying attention and you just take your time, you'll be able to get through them. So propeller gets built with its little retaining pin. Pilot gets painted. We then join together our fuselage halves, and then adding on to that, we need to put our engine details, our machine guns, and our lower wings in. It is worth noting here, don't glue in your propeller if you want it to freely rotate. When I build this, I'll probably just add that at the end and just glue it on. We come down to the struts. It does show us like the angles the struts should be at, so that's a little bit helpful. And then we add on our top surface to our lower surface, and I think that's like a fuel filler pipe there that we do have to be aware of. It does give us rigging instructions, but actually we haven't finished the kit yet, so we need to go to number 7, which is down here. So it's not in a necessarily logical flow, but you know, just watch out for that. Assemble our landing gear struts and then add that onto the bottom of the model. So not overly complicated. And then as mentioned, we do have some rigging instructions, but naturally there's no rigging included. That then brings us on to our painting instructions. And this is an aircraft from 1917. And I'm sure that it's a fairly interestingly coloured one. As you can see on the box artwork, we've got like a yellow body, we've got red wheels and spinners, we've got like sky blue undersides, we've got a white tail, but we also do have other colours like on the camouflage upper surfaces here. I'd have to go through and check because it's annoying, it's not printed in colour. How many different shades of grey can you use to depict the different colours that are on here? This is why I don't like it, because look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We've got 12 different paint colours on here. If you can tell the difference between F, K and M and G, L and O, you know, well done, because I'm going to struggle with that. So I think I'll have to be doing some research to find out which colours we should be using. Not the biggest fan, but it is a little bit of a product of its time. And we'll see more about that in a second when we get the plastic parts out. So the plastic parts are pretty much like loose in the bag, and they come in this bag. Interestingly, it doesn't look like I've actually had this one open, despite the fact that I've had this kit for so many years. So let's just get everything out. And there it all is. So we effectively had like one sprue, no clear parts. Everything is molded in this light grey plastic. It's a little bit dense, might be perhaps a little bit brittle, but it doesn't feel greasy or anything like that, so that's good. So the main sprue then, we have it's a bit flashy, isn't it? There's a lot of flash on pieces, especially the pilot figure. So looking at the pilot then, you can see we've got a bit of flash that needs cleaning up. Generally the details on the pilot don't look too bad, and it's nice that we've got a pilot included, but you can see we've got these two holes in the side which go onto pins inside of the cockpit halves. We have ejector pin marks which are going to need cleaning up. They are quite present, especially on the wheels and things. We have tail surfaces here. Again, there's like some flash on that. It's going to need cleaning up. Crude engine details. Everything's a little bit chunky. Everything's a little bit simple. Here's our machine guns. They look like they'll give a representation, but they're just not amazing, are they? Then we have our propeller, which is okay, but it's again a little bit flashy. That's going to need cleaning up. Our upper wing surface, actually the level of detail on there is quite nice. We've got like a stressed skin kind of effect on there. I believe this is like a fuel tank up here, and we have some of the lines here are a little bit recessed, but generally on the whole it looks like it's kind of got like raised details in places. Ejector pin marks on this side, very annoying. Quite a bit of work needed to clean that one up, and I think that's the same kind of deal for the lower wing surface. You can see here we've got ejector pin marks which are going to need cleaning up, and yeah, a little bit crude, a little bit simple, a little bit of flash. We have our Albatros fuselage half here. It's okay. Details are very simplified. The lining here is actually recessed. The other fuselage half is pretty much the same. It doesn't have the tail surface on that one. It's actually part of this one. And you can see we've got a copyright date of 1981 on the inside of this part. Again, take copyright dates with a pinch of salt, because I actually believe this to be a bit older than 1981. And yeah, that was pretty much it. Not much to see here. All of our parts come in this light grey plastic. The moulding is generally okay, but it's a bit flashy. There's ejector pin marks. It's going to need a bit of work to clean up. It's going to need a bit of TLC. Decals were to a lovely quality. They're all right. They should go on no problem. And our instructions, whilst a little cluttered, I think they might be easy to follow. But the black and white painting instructions on this kit, given that we need so many different kinds of paint, I think could lead to making mistakes. So I'm going to have to do a bit of extra research. All of that does come inside of this box though. I quite like the artwork on here. I think it looks really cool. Actually, it's part of the reason why I ended up buying it. But I think this is one of those kits where you don't really know what you're going to get inside the box unless you've done some research or, you know, taken it home. So whilst we did have a copyright date on the box of 2009, which side was it on? It was on this side here, 2009. That's from when this initial boxing here was released. It has been available as like a model set with paint and stuff as well. I guess you don't get enough paint to do the whole thing. You just get enough to get started with it. But I must have bought it around the time when this came out, sort of around 2009, and then it just sat in my stash in storage and it never got round to it. However, we did have that copyright date on the inside of one of these parts here, which was 1981, but I think that must be a later edition, because as far as I know, this tool supposedly dates from 1963. So a lot of the stuff we've seen here, you know, crude details, lots of flash, not overly complicated, does lend itself to the fact that it is a particularly old tooling hidden in a relatively nice box. Of course, with the fact that I bought this so long ago, I can't actually remember how much I paid. I tried to look through my emails and I just don't think my emails go back that far to see if I had an invoice or anything. I might not have even bought it online. I don't know. But I would hazard a guess that if you were to find this one today and you wanted one, don't be passing over more than about £5 for it. I have seen some resellers online selling it for nearly £60, which is absolutely insane, especially when you consider the fact that there is an Edouard D.III version of the Albatros out there, so a slightly different variant, but it's more new. It's a 1999 tooling, and that one can be picked up for about a tenner. So yeah, if you do want one of these and you do happen to see one online, my recommendation would be definitely don't think about spending more than a £5 if you really wanted one of these examples. And with that, I'm going to call this video here. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of my unboxing review and if my assessment of this kit was fair. Don't forget that we do have a Model Minutes Model Club. And if you'd like to join the club and get access to early videos and other exclusive perks, check out the links below the video. Massive thanks to these guys in the Model Club for the extra support they give the channel, allowing me to create consistent content. Of course, there are other ways to help support the channel if you'd prefer, and again, full information is below the video. The best way to support this channel for free though is by subscribing with notifications turned on so you never miss a modelling upload. Finally though, last thing to say is a massive thank you to you for watching this one, and I'll catch you on the workbench again next time.